Welcome to Eyes on Sedona Skies. This is the series leading up to the feature film of a blind dance 90-minute film, See Sedona Blind. I'd like to introduce you to the man himself, who is legally blind and a resident of Sedona, that started this entire vision of 8 of the world's top influencers who are blind, who are about to go to visit Sedona to see if we can feel the vortexes with or without sight. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Sedona Dey. Hey, Dave, are you there?
I am. Great to be here today, guys. So great to be here. Sedona is beautiful today, and man, we're kicking off this adventure in fine form. Looking forward to getting the crew out here in a few weeks, not too far from now. The 21st of April is soon going to be upon us. All going to muster and take Sedona by storm, really show off everything that this area has to offer, all the senses, the tactile senses, the experiences. We're really going to immerse ourselves in Sedona. Looking forward to it.
I'd like to start out by saying we have a sighted person coming with the influencers who are blind, and that is extraordinary cameraman, Brent Dey. Yes, and I'd like to ask Brent, first of all, Brent, what is your experience with filmmaking and blindness? And then secondly, what do you think about this adventure to Sedona?
Well, I met Ben. I was walking on a lunch break here in Atlanta, and I saw 3 people with walking sticks and cameras filming. And being a filmmaker myself, and always being a fan of people filming no matter what obstacles are in front of them, I was intrigued. I walked up and I said, are you guys blind? And they said, yeah. And I said, are you making a movie? And they said, yeah. And we just hit it off right from there. I mean, I've stayed in touch with Ben. That was probably what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Almost 3, yeah. 3
years ago. So we stayed in touch. We've talked about doing a number of projects together, and this has come together. And, when Ben was telling me about this documentary he's putting together, I'm like, see if you can get me out there. I want to jump on this. I want to be part of this. And then getting to know Sedona Dave through this, I think, and we've been on a couple Zoom calls with pretty much everybody that's going on this trip, and the energy that is collected here is just so welcoming, so fun. And this itinerary that Dave has put together is unbelievable. I mean, this is work. You're calling this work. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for bringing us on board.
Next, we've got my main man, Charlie Collins. Now, Charlie is legally blind. He comes from a family, he'll tell you his own story, where he's got siblings all with the same condition as he's got. And he's got a story that's remarkable. He's written a book. It's a bestseller, Tripping into the Light. And I don't even want to tell any more of his story. Charlie, could you come on, tell us a little bit about your experience with filmmaking as a person going blind, how you're self-taught, and what brings you to work with us in See Sedona Blind?
Absolutely. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you and an honor to be going on this trip, being a part of something big. So Ben, you asked, you're right. I mean, diagnosed at a young age. I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. 4 out of 6 of us were diagnosed in the late 70s with juvenile macular degeneration, also known as Stargardt's disease. Not much information back in those days. Just all we can guarantee you is it's a progressive illness and it's going to get worse. Well, that's not what I want to hear. I don't want to hear that. So I take responsibility 100% for the outcome and the results of my life. And if I don't like something, I don't like what's happening, what can I do? I can respond differently to so why am I with you guys now? Because we got to put an end to that. We got to help show people deep within them is something bigger than they can ever imagine. And once you tap into that, blindness, hearing difficulties, 1 leg, that ain't the problem. It's always been my thinking. When I met Dave, like, this dude is so mellow. And we had about, 4,300 wires on the ground. We had cameras and lighting and tripods. And I mean, this place was a disaster for a blind person. And there was no, Dave, you were so calm. You're like, we'll get it. We just, oh, it's over there. I'm like, wow, now I know why. You live in Sedona. And you brought that to us, and now you're bringing us to that. And you know what? We get to live from that if we choose on a daily basis. And, this is awesome. You know what I mean? This is where I want to be. This is who I am. And I want to give these gifts that I feel I've been given. I want to show them to the world so they can see the gifts in themselves, because it becomes a better place.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm really interested to experience you on the trails, to see what somebody with periphery only can do, because I'm guessing you can pretty much see your feet on the trails, just not exactly where you're looking. So I'm very, very curious to watch you on trail.
Dave, you know what we could do? You pick up a good stretch of the mountain and we'll race that. Me and you will race.
We'll race. That's an amazingly great idea. Let's do that. Let's race up a mountain.
Yeah.
And then race back down.
Down scares me a little, racing, but up doesn't.
I'll get back to you on that. I hope not.
Hey, Brent wants good footage.
That's right. Exactly.
Aerial footage.
I want to figure out a way to capture your experience, the different experiences of blindness while hiking. Like you've got the peripheral vision, and Ben, we've talked about this before. Like, how do we use filters or something like that to create the look to see what you're seeing? But I think that's kind of cool to think you might need to tilt your head a little bit to see where you're walking, right? Or you might need to rely on Dave, who can see a little bit in the front, right? But everybody's got a different experience of blindness, and they're hitting that trail with a different set of eyes, aren't they?
Yeah. And we've got a couple totally blind people on board, one with a service animal. So there's another great element to the blindness that you'll be experiencing from behind the camera.
And we'll get to see how that service animal responds to the wolves too, which will be really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that we'll make that. We'll see.
About that.
Staying in the car for that part.
That might come right before the wolves have us for lunch, right?
For lunch.
I would absolutely love, Brent, to answer your question on that, to creatively somehow, possibly in post, recreating some visual filters. I've got a couple ideas on how. I think that if we plan ahead, that we'll be able to capture video that would be conducive to that post editing. But yeah, we should definitely raise awareness of the different types of blindness through this, for
That'd
sure.
be great.
There's some shots that we'll definitely want to get, like on shot list style, to make sure we don't forget to get shots of the cane feeling the terrain out, right? Because you're going to depend on. But yeah, man, it's going to be. Yeah, Ben and I will be putting our heads together to figure out how to get some of these shots right.
I'm excited.
What I want to do is go over the itinerary, let you guys know what's coming up, pretty much on a day-by-day basis. Wednesday, the 21st, everyone's going to be flying and driving out to Phoenix, shuttling up the hill to Sedona, and we're all going to meet at the rental house. I got us a 5-bedroom house for rent, and we're all going to settle in, unpack, get ready for Thursday, have a bit of a briefing, eat, and hopefully wrap it up not too late at night, because Thursday is coming up soon.
How long are these hikes? Would we be able to have a car if we want to do interview, like the one you said there's a butte that we can look over and do interviews at? Would we be able to leave the tripod in the car and run back and get it, or is it a pretty long hike in there? How would that work?
The Avapai Vista Trail, which opens up to a very large open red rock, almost a plateau overlooking Bell Rock. For a sighted person, about 15 minutes down. Coffee Pot Rock, about 20, 25 minutes to the car.
Yeah, I think just being able to bring the drone and tripod would be nice if we could bring it, but
Right.
not essential.
We'll have
So.
extra hands to carry for you, Brent.
Yes. And I do have a local intern who's going to be helping us out. Another set of hands, camera, sound, wheels, driver's license. So,
Awesome.
yeah, a good recruit. Okay, Thursday's a hiking day. So we're starting at 8 o'clock at Canyon Outfitters. They're opening up early to let us in and really stock up on what we need for the trails. They're opening up for us. We'll come on in with the cameras rolling and really get ready for the next 2 days. 10 o'clock in the morning, we're heading over to a place called Pulaski, an ancient Native American dwelling. We have been blessed by the Forest Service, and I mean blessed. First and foremost, they're letting us film. Filming at these sites is forbidden. We got waivered and authorized to film, so that's just huge. Secondly, they're providing us with an interpreter and an archaeologist to give us a real insights of what it was like back then. Tremendously exciting. We're all going to be introduced to the wild thing, hiking cane. So this will be our very first vortex experience. And in the river bank is an ancient tree that's all twisted and spiraled and gnarled, and it's just gorgeous. This will be my wife Deb's first talk with us on vortexes. Stop, feel a riverbed vortex. Very interesting. Wrapping up the hike, heading back to the house for a great dinner. We'll be eating at Picasso's, amazingly good local place, and settle in for the night.
I hear the vortex enhances the Wi-Fi.
You guys will be on these great hikes and I'll be like, hold on, I'm going to run a bunch of Zoom calls where I got these connection.
Brent, speaking of vortexes, I'm sure you've heard that Sedona has all sorts of vortex, energy, paranormal, lights, orbs, alien, the whole shoot and match. What's your experience with that? And what do you expect, or what would you like to experience on your visit to Sedona in the paranormal realm?
Wow. I remember as a kid, I was always into flying saucers and ghosts. And every night I'd go to bed and think, man, it'd be so cool if I would be visited by a ghost tonight. And I'd be laying there in bed and I'd be thinking how cool that would be. And the more I thought about it, the more I could visualize it, the more I could sense it. And the more that I could visualize it, the more I could sense it, the more freaked out I'd start to get. And then I'd be like, maybe tomorrow night would be a better night for a visit from the paranormal. Ironically, I was in Flagstaff on a job. I was in Phoenix on a job, and I took a side trip to Flagstaff to check it out and stayed in a hotel that was an old cowboy hotel. And apparently all the rooms are haunted. So I stayed in a room that actually every one of them had a door of a famous person that stayed there too. It wasn't a very big hotel, and I was excited because I'm a big REM fan, and I stayed in the Michael Stipe room. And I remember going to bed, and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a visit from a ghost at this hotel." And I was laying in bed, same thing, and I was like, "So what would I just for some reason I was imagining like a toilet paper roll floating across the air, or just something like that." And I was like, "It's like that'd be so cool to see something like that." But then I got thinking, man, if that happened, that would freak me out so much that I ended up just laying there, just looking, the sheets pulled around my head, just looking around the room. Like, it'd be really freaky, man, if I saw something like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe there's a reason some of that's kept from our experience, because it would let you in a little bit too much on how the universe works, and it might freak you out. But man, it's fun when you get those little snippets. I'm assuming with guides like you that we'll be able to get some of that energy out of the rocks. We'll get to feel some of this. I read an interview with Bob Dylan once, and he said one of his favorite things to do when he travels, particularly in the South, he likes to go to these Civil War battlefields and just feel the ghosts. He likes to just go feel the presence of what was there before. And that's why I like old buildings and old places, and whether it's really a ghost or whether you're picking up on that energy or not, just letting your mind imagine these different time periods and these different, and you go back even geological time to when when it was an ocean, or when there were dinosaurs, or when there, I think it's just letting your mind kind of explore the terrain is exciting. So yeah, but if you can show me an orb or a UFO landing or a ghost, I'm all for it, as long as I get to sleep with the nightlight on afterwards.
If I can do that, brother, I'll be all about it too.
You talked to the right guy, Brent.
You will be amongst friends in the orb alien realm, brother. You're amongst friends. Oh, nice.
What are you thinking about with cameras? Can you talk to me a little bit about cameras, some of the cameras you're bringing, angles you're looking to get, and also what about this kaleidoscope store? What are we going to do to capture the kaleidoscopes?
As a gearhead, I'm listening to this itinerary going, I'm going to have to strip my gear down a bit because I want to bring everything with me, but we're going to be running and gunning. So I'll probably be having my A7S III with me most of the time. I have an Insta360 camera, which I think would be a great way to kind of capture your sensory experience, because it's not so much when people hear a 360-degree camera, they think that you're going to put on a virtual headset and see the whole area around you. But the way I like to use it is more of a way to pinpoint a direction of what you're looking at. And you have all these weird whips and turns you can do when you edit. So it can be, over to Ben's reaction and down to the rock, I would love to be able to use my slider. I think because it's a sensory experience, it'd be great to be able to get time lapse of some things. I don't know if we'll have time for that. And then, I'd like to have the drone too. So it's just a matter of what can we carry. I might need to talk to you guys offline about what kind of packs that we can have with us, because I only have so much room to bring stuff, and it's mainly a backpack thing. If I could stuff stuff in my backpack, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, probably mostly my A7S III, the Sony trusty. You always buy all this gear, and then the reality of it is you're running and gunning and you just grab something and go and you shoot with it. So wide angle lenses, I think, to get you guys in the space that you're in will be important, fisheye lenses.
What would you think about if you suddenly, were told you're going blind? Would you look for a new career, or what would you do?
I mean, when you're kids, you always play that game. Would you rather lose your vision or your hearing? Would you rather use your hand or your leg? I mean, that's a big thing to lose. That's a big thing to give up. And I think that, Ben and I have had some conversations about that, about his experience. I think persevering through whatever is lost and coming out on the other side, having gained new things, is what has always interested me as a storyteller. Ben and I have talked about doing some narrative stuff around that experience. I went to an exhibit on blindness at Fernbank Museum about 10 years ago and was fascinated because I thought blindness meant this, that you just either you see or you can't see. And I was fascinated to see that blindness meant there are different types of vision loss. Maybe you see 20% of what you used to see. Maybe everything's gray and parts are shut out, that as a filmmaker, that creates challenges, but it also creates a different way of seeing the world. And I think as an artist, you look for people who have a different way of seeing the world. And, my conversations with Ben have proven that. Your love for cinema continues despite your blindness. Your commitment to the craft continues. You're giving voice to people who are not sighted, but have stories to tell and a way of seeing the world that a lot of us who are sighted could really learn from. And I think you can apply that experience to anything. Understanding anybody who has a different experience than you is really the purpose of art, I feel, in the first place. To gain empathy and understanding of people who are walking on a different path than you are. So if somebody was to tell me that I was losing my sight, it's inconceivable how I would react to that. I think having met you guys would give me a lot of comfort. It would give me kind of an excitement. Okay, I'm stepping off this train and onto another train, and I'm going to be experiencing things in a different way. Maybe my senses will be more attuned. What Dave describes and what he offers through his See Sedona Blind tours. I think being able to come along with you guys and experience Sedona in a very tactile way that I may have ignored as a sighted person will be really invigorating. And as a filmmaker, capturing that sensory experience on camera and trying to share that with an audience that is not only seeing it with their eyes, but they're physically not there, is going to be a fun filmmaking challenge. I want to capture that experience that Dave has described, the energy of the rocks, the texture of the textiles, the presence of being with wolves. I think is going to be really fun to catch that. So that's a long-winded answer to your question.
Love it. I love it. I'm thinking, my goodness, we got the right filmmaker coming with us.
Yes.
Brent, you said it quite well. It's like, wait a minute, I had my life planned as a sighted person already at age 9. And these doctors tell me it's going to be different than that. So, 13 declared legally blind by the state. The walls were closing in on me fast, because I believed the lie on a daily basis that I was not capable. It wasn't fair. I'm not ever going to be able to amount to more than what I was. And, and the negative self-talk constantly plagued me. And the funniest thing was, I don't know about funny, but I didn't take responsibility for any of this. I blamed the little thing on the back of my fovea, which is on my retina. So I'm looking straight on at a camera. There is no camera there. It's just a hole. It's a black hole. But if I move a little and then I come at the there's the lens. And that's because I have peripheral vision. That's why when Ben and I, or Dave and I, hang out, we're pretty damn sighted together. They got that razor sharp center, and I got the thing, and we can go do a lot together. And that's why we have partnerships. Thank God you get to the jumping off point. Now, there was 2 options: to blot out my intolerable existence and end it. Thought about that all the time. But there's a point in life, at least for me, I had to get beat up. I had to really get mangled to raise that flag and surrender. This thing had me beat. And I am no longer going to give all the power to a little disease in my eye. That's not who I am. I accepted it. I didn't like it. I don't love it still, but I accept it. I mean, why fight something that I can't just wake up in the morning and say, see perfectly today? So, because once I released that struggle, the universe opened up, the opportunities presented. All, like Brent, you nailed it. All of a sudden, I'm like, things became easier. People became nicer. And this didn't happen automatically. So I did work to get to this point.
So when it comes to filmmaking, Charlie, what in the world propelled you to self-teach yourself how to use a camera and edit as a person with low vision and as blind? Because I'm impressed.
But COVID hit. Well, you got to adjust a little. I couldn't be out in front of people. I couldn't do what I used to do, but I still wanted to do it. So I needed to bring me virtually to those people I wanted to help. But I wanted to know about backgrounds. I wanted to learn about aperture. I wanted to know what iris is and gain. And for some reason, I wanted to master it. Do you know when you get an inner prompting? You know when the universe sends you something to do? I believe that if it comes to me, it's supposed to. Thoughts come. Mind is big. My position in the planet is I don't know it all. Charlie, you should work with cameras. Well, I didn't think, well, that's a stupid thing to come to a blind guy. And I had some experience, and I played with them, and I had a company that I shot video at, and but I used automatic. I didn't want to get to know too much because I was busy running a company.
Friday is another hiking day, pure hiking. And there's a blind person with us today who came to me once recently and said, hey, Sedona Dave, I know all these trails might be easy for us, but any chance to get a little bit more adventurous? I said, yes, Charlie, we can. Friday morning, we're heading out to Yavapai Vista Trail. About a 20-minute hike, get some good elevation, a little bit more challenging, but the payoff is epic. Overlooking Bella Rock, Courthouse Butte. Again, a wide open area for interviews. stop, feel vortex number 2, Bell Rock Vortex. Again, Deb will give us a bit of a chat about laying on the rocks and feeling what this vortex feels like and how it's different from the first one we saw the day before at Arizona Cypress. Second hike after lunch on Friday is going to be Coffee Pot, which is actually off to my right shoulder, fairly close to the house. Coffee Pot is an amazing hike. A little bit challenging, but again, huge payoffs. Overlooking West Sedona, Coffee Pot in the background, great feel. Dinner Friday night will be at Tortas de Fuego, an amazing local Oaxacan restaurant, the best takeout ever. So highly recommended. Going to be great Friday.
Again, let me go back to Dave. In that room that was the Working While blind dance studio that you had set up, that I was so lucky to step into, and you shot great video for me. But what I witnessed with Dave, and which I practiced too, but that was a new environment for me. He set his environment up for success. So if I'm going to walk around with a camera and say, let's do video, but I don't know how to work the tool to a decent way, in a decent way, you know what it's going to cause me? Frustration. I don't know how to get the right audio. Wait, I zoomed and now it's blurry. Oh, where's the autofocus button? I don't want any of that. I want to show up prepared. You know why? Because a negative thought takes me off. I should know better. This sucks. You know what I mean? That story can start so easy in my life. So I prepare for success, Ben, and I studied and I looked close at these videos and I put under my CCTV articles and manuals. I used the magnifier on that flip out menu system. Sony, Canon, they must put screen readers in all their menu systems. And like the iPhone, it says, you're on the guy's head and all, they need to put that in their cameras too. So that's our next thing we got to hit them with. Something told me, I achieved it. I became really good on lighting, cameras, sets. I get calls from sighted people saying, hey, can you help me set up my camera and my set in my studio? Sure.
I love that.
Saturday is off trails and into the van. We're going to be heading up to the town of Jerome, which is a mining town built into the side of a mountain. There, we will be having lunch at Bobby D's. Bobby D's is ribs and barbecue with a huge porch deck overlooking the valley. Get some drone footage going. That's going to be an amazing lunch afternoon. In Jerome, there's America's largest kaleidoscope store. Part of me is dying to know what a blind person will do in a kaleidoscope store. I'm very excited. Knowing that 90% of our people have some kind of useful vision, what are we going to see? So I'm all eyes open up. Head down the hill to Sedona for pizza at our house Saturday night, followed by an amazing fire pit drum circle ceremony. I was able to arrange with a professional drum circle coordinator, and she'll be coming by with a dozen drums, and she'll be leading us in an hour and a half drumming event involving at least 3 of our senses, maybe 4. She's a professional, and what she's going to offer is going to be an amazing experience.
Charlie, what do you think a kaleidoscope is going to look like to you, having the type of vision that you've got?
I think it's going to look like a 1988 Grateful Dead show at Madison Square Garden after a couple too many.
That's fun.
And then as far as that kaleidoscope thing, man, that's going to be really cool to check that out. So I'm going to bring my little macro adapter to see, how we can shoot into those things. But yeah.
Sunday, I'm going to wake up to a wolf experience. At 10 o'clock in the morning, we're all going to head out to be with wolves. There's a person locally who takes in and works with local wolves. We'll be in a very large fenced-in area, and the wolves will come on out and lean into us. We'll pet them, we'll hug them, we'll commune. Very amazing experience, and I cannot wait to see what a blind person will do with a 200-pound wolf. After the wolf experience, we're heading up the hill towards Flagstaff for an open-air trading post at a scenic overlook. And this will be our chance to slow down a little bit and feel the local wares, jewelry, crafts, clay, arts, dream catchers. It'll be a chance for us to take in some of the local flavors, the local wares. And I feel like that'll be a great way to wrap up the trip. A lot of color, a lot of smells, sights, sounds. Sunday night dinner. Diane, yay, Diane, is going to be cooking for us. Blind cook. She's going to be cooking for us. During the day, Diana and Deb, my wife, will be going to the store and shopping. Hopefully we can get that on film. But yeah, Sunday night she'll be cooking for us and wrap up of a great 4-day experience.
Nice. Sedona Dave. Thank you, brother. That's quite the itinerary. I got to tell you, every single day we are going to be jam-packed with excitement, and we're going to be covering everything by video documentary and also audio describing live.
Yes. Awesome.
Out of all the itinerary that you heard from Dave, what are you looking forward to most?
Oh man, just the energy that is in the Southwest, just those reddish amber rocks, the way the sun hits those rocks. There's a reason I suppose, Georgia O'Keeffe, the Flaming Lips, all these artists that kind of come from these places that are so bouncy and colorful. And I really put my finger on that as we were in New Mexico, was seeing a lot of the art that's done from the native art on up. It's just a blank canvas to really add color to, and there's so much native color to it. The reds and the browns and the greens and the blues play off each other so well. Just to walk in these canyons. I mean, hiking is my favorite thing to do, to visit these Native American ruins. We got to see a few in New Mexico as well. I used to live in Colorado, and we would hike to some places like Mesa Verde there. But just kind of absorbing that energy and the spirit of what has come before, whether it's geological or human people, the people who've lived there in the past. I just like picking up on that energy when I travel, So the fact that Dave is tuned into that sort of thing is going to be really cool to see and experience this with blind people who are going to be picking it up on it probably more than I'll be able to, will be really cool. And I think I'll be able to learn from y'all how to tune myself into that kind of experience. So thanks again for thinking of having me join you.
Absolutely.
And then to be with wolves, as a dog lover, being with wolves, I mean, come on, I'm going to be putting the camera down to scratch their necks and wrestle with them. I mean, come on, the food. I mean, what Flagstaff? I've been to Flagstaff before. I didn't know that was on the itinerary. When Dave said that, my ears perked up. I mean, it's just a great part of the country. I've been to Sedona. I've just driven through. It's so pretty. I've never been able to really experience it. I can't pick one thing. I mean, you all who are coming on this, I just cannot believe the itinerary that has been assembled here. It's fantastic.
Out of all the things that Dave talked about with this itinerary for Sedona, what are you looking forward to most?
What I'm going to do is set aside everything I think I know about vortexes, about mountains, about native, about the energy. I don't know. I'm going to go with the I don't know mind. And I'm going to step into that, because with that mind, I can create or just have an amazing experience. So that's my most favorite thing, is that I'm stepping into the I don't know mind, and I'm allowing the universe and whatever's going to happen and just be a joyful part of that rodeo. But what I do want to say, one of the things I heard Dave say earlier, well, we're going to go pet and be around the wolves, and then they are going to have their lunch. I said, I don't know about that exercise there, Mr. Epstein.
Boy, was that a slip of the tongue. Well, okay, well, that cat's out of the bag.
And as far as this drum circle goes, do you have any drum skills? I know you play the guitar, but how do you do on the drums?
I started on the drums.
Nice.
But I gave up because I when I started, I didn't play like Neil Peart. So I said, well, I obviously suck. I didn't start playing the guitar until 40 years old, because, anything good in life if you believe in yourself and believe it's possible, you'll become an expert. You'll become a pro if you don't give up. And on the guitar, I didn't. I just step by step. I learn a little, I'm good. I don't, and if I start to get frustrated, I put it down. I get frustrated when I'm learning the camera. I got scared. I'm running these webinars. Oh, I don't know if I have it all. I have to run in. You know what I mean? What do I need to educate myself on so I can maximize me as a person for a daily life of success?
I'm looking at this whole experience we're about to embark upon, and I just have to Sedona Dave, I've got to give you major thanks for making this all possible in more than one way, for being a major donor to the Blind Dance Film Festival, making it possible for us to have the equipment to film with, for bringing all of us out to Sedona to film with you. I'm very honored to be working with you to help promote the See Sedona Blind tours and a wearable gear. But man, thanks for making this all happen, Sedona Dave.
I appreciate it. This has been what a ride. I think in everybody's life we get like an opportunity, at least one opportunity to throw a party, to say, all right, it's my turn to step up, to put my best foot forward. What does my best foot forward look like? Back in December, it was 5 people in a camera, 5 blind guys in a camera. Today, it's not 5 guys in the camera anymore. So as we pushed the schedule up to April, I just, fortunately or unfortunately, I had all this time to plan and do.
Getting to know all these people, cooks, different people that are doing different crafts. I think it's going to be fantastic to see how people adapt to blindness and make that, don't let it stop them in anything they're doing, I think that's fantastic.
Love that. This was a lot of fun, you guys, by the way. It was great seeing the core, the crew here. It's great to see. And I was really nervous when I woke up this morning and I was wondering why. Is it that we're filming this? No, it's April. Not that it's April Fool's Day, but it's April. What does April mean? It's the month that it happens. And I woke up like, all right.
This day.
Yeah. And I'm at the point now where you can only plan so much. At some point, you're going to say, all right, pull the trigger. So that's where I am. A couple more details, but let's go.
Yeah. Charlie, are you bringing your guitar with you?
No.
Yeah. I picked it up. I tried to learn guitar in college and then put it down and then picked it up over COVID. And like you said, doesn't matter how old you are, if you're committed, you can learn it.
Yep.
So we'll have to talk guitar when.
All right.
Yeah.
And we will have a drummer with us on the trip. Kai is a drummer. So I'm sure he's not going to bring his drum set out, but I'm very curious to see how he responds and interacts at the drum circle. That's going to be very interesting. So keep those cameras rolling, and it's going to be good.
A great time, guys.
Good time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, you guys. I'll talk to you real soon.
All right.
Looking forward to it, everybody.
Afternoon, boys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
You bet.